Hey everyone, got an exciting show for you today. I have somebody that is launching a business in Cincinnati, Ohio. It's really interesting how the world works. He found me on a Roofstock podcast, which I've done a couple of times. Shout out Roofstock, yay! But he reached out, got excited by the one rental at a time story. He's got a buddy in Columbus doing something similar, and he wanted to ask me a bunch of questions. So let's welcome Teddy Woodhouse to the show. How you doing, Teddy?
Thank you, Michael. I'm doing great. Appreciate you having me on the show.
Absolutely. I love it when people want to ask me questions when I can hit the record button. I get a lot of people reaching out to me, and I'm pretty particular with my time, right? And pretty much the answer is, hey, if you're willing to get on video, willing to ask me whatever you want, because I think if we do this enough times, it can answer other people's questions. So, Teddy, before we get into the questions, why don't you introduce the audience to who is Teddy Woodhouse, where you are, and what you're currently doing and hope to do in this crazy world of real estate.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm an open book. I love being able to network, and that's something that intrigues me about the real estate industry. Everybody, well, most want to help others, and you learn from each other. I've found even the wholesalers that I've reached out to are essentially my competition.
Sure.
They want to help out too, and everybody can bring something and add value to each other. So in a nutshell, what I'm looking to do, and a little background on myself, I, I've been in medical device sales for 10 years. Very high stress environment, very competitive, very aggressive environment. I was selling orthopedic implants, and I worked for Stryker and Johnson and Johnson. Eventually started transitioning out to do something similar with James Hardy Building Products. They're a
Mm-hmm.
fiber cement siding company. That shift was more to get closer to the real estate industry and start talking with builders, building a network. I started reading Bigger Pockets and other real estate books like One Rental at a Time. Other similar books, and it just over time it steadily transitioned to I really need to find a business or start a business that's completely parallel to real estate or in it.
Mm.
The last role I had, I got furloughed slash laid off
Mm-hmm.
because of this whole pandemic, and I just decided, hey, what a better time to just start.
Okay.
So like you had mentioned, the guys up in Columbus are helping train me to do some wholesale deals. I want to emulate their business model here in Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
And they own over 100+ properties, and they've done very well with it. It started out wholesaling, then turnkey, and now they're trying to buy and hold, build some assets.
Very cool.
So yeah, that's kind of where I am right now.
Very cool. Just real quick about the friends in Columbus, and then you can go ahead and ask me whatever you'd like. I'm curious, how long was that transition, right? And if you don't know, no big deal. But going from wholesaling, kind of generating some scratch, some savings, then turnkey, getting higher margins, and now owning 100 units. That's a track record lots of people should do, right? Because you can get high income, but wealth is created from holding. So much respect to your buddies in Columbus. But how long was that transition? It wasn't 3 weeks, I'm sure.
No, absolutely not. I mean, I think from the background of my friend, I mean, he was doing, I think, telecommunication sales or cell phone type sales.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I don't have time. I don't have the money
Mm-hmm.
to completely transition out. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
start doing it through, on the side. And that's
Yeah,
why he started doing the wholesaling thing. It was kind of a way to
sure.
dip his feet into it and get some experience and some repetition and deal analysis. And that took time. I don't know exactly the time frame, but I know that now they've been in business for over 10 years. And
That would make sense. Yeah. Because it takes a
Yeah.
while,
And
right? You're cutting your
yeah,
teeth your first year. You don't know what you don't know. You have a couple of wins. Second year is a little bit better. 3 years. At the third year, you got process procedures in place. You probably have some savings put away. Then you flip to turnkey. You're probably like 80-20, 70-30, right? You're kind of working on that. You wholesale some, you keep some. And then you probably get to like year 7 or 8, and you're like, God damn, I'm paying a lot of taxes to the IRS. I better
yeah,
start holding some of these. That's kind of the transition I see people go through.
yep,
Very
that
cool.
sounds about right.
There you go. All right, Teddy. Why don't you go ahead and ask me any and all questions? We'll see where this goes from here.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess one of my biggest questions in building the business is, there's so many different systems
Mm-hmm.
to implement, and I know you don't need all of them at the
Yeah.
start. I want them.
Yeah.
I'm a systems guy, but what's your advice to somebody getting started, and
Yeah.
uh,
Well,
where
the
to
beauty
begin?
is we both have a commission background. So I'm going to break this down, probably how you did it at Stryker, probably how you did it in medical device, right? So like you, I had a quota for 20 years, right? Anywhere from a couple of $1 million to 1 year, $1.1 billion. Talk about making you very afraid, $1 billion quota. Jesus. But anyways, um,
Yeah.
what you do is you go, okay, whatever my number is. So what I would ask you first is, what do you want to make a month or a year, whatever that is? And I'm just going to make stuff up. Call it 50K. Okay, great. So you want to make 50K. What is going to be your average assignment fee? Because that's where you're going to start, right? Well, my average assignment
Yeah.
fee, I'm told my buddy does 8 grand in Columbus. I'm going to be more conservative. I'm going to say 4 grand in Cincy, or let's do 5 grand so it's easier math. Well, okay, great. If your average assignment fee is 5 grand, you need 50K. That means you need 10 successful assignments. Now we have to work backwards. Okay, in order to get 10 successful assignments, it means you have to make how many offers, and how many offers means how many meetings, and how many meetings is how many leads, and how many, right? Break it down into those little chunks so that we can talk about the very beginning. And then all you're talking about is conversions, right? Because a sales process or a sales pipeline, wherever you want to break it down into, is top of funnel, exit, and everything in between is just conversion ratios. So I believe there's a lot of people selling apps and technologies that are supposed to make different parts of that better. When you're beginning, that's not the most important thing, right? You need to look at where you're good in that pipeline and adjust accordingly. Like, for example, if in your business you're pretty good at getting from leads to quote unquote belly to belly or face to face or whatever you call it for you, but you can't convert out of that, well, maybe you need some sales training. I'm just picking on that because it came to me first.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're really good at it because you had commission sales and you can transition, and right, you can do objection handling, and if you can get to the couch, you can get to a deal better than average. Well, then you need to get more stuff in the funnel. So I would tell you to sit down and evaluate your business, because your business is like no other. Your skill set, your background is like no other. So just because somebody else says this is the best texting platform, or this is the best mailer, or this is the best whatever, they're not you. They don't bring your expertise, your whatever. So I think most wholesalers in the beginning invest too much in crap to begin with, too many tools, and then you're just monkeying with tools. You're not looking at your business. So just
Yeah.
like when you had a
Yeah.
quota, run at it as hard as you can for 60 or 90 days so you can get enough trips at the plate. Break down your 50K goal, which we talked about, into the 7 or 8 chunks, and then ask hard questions, because I guarantee you what you need to invest in, you're not even thinking about today, and you would waste money, which in the beginning is the worst thing you can do. So that's my first thinking, and that goes for flippers and buy and hold people. Just because somebody sells a system, a process, or a tool, or an application, I mean, apps are everywhere today.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced that apps are the right answers. Look at your business, look at your skill set, look at your experience, and then tweak your conversions, because it's probably not what the apps are doing. That's all these people selling $9.99 apps and this and that is wasteful. And then pretty soon you're wasting $300 a month on stuff you don't need. It's pretty
Yeah.
crazy.
Absolutely. That's, I mean, that's everything that it all comes down to focus, right? I mean, and figuring out where your strengths lie and then focusing on those specific strengths, implementing them, like actually taking action on them, and then, working from there. I mean, you can always improve. There's always areas to improve. And that's my biggest struggle is I'm a perfectionist, and there's a quote that I have written all over the place. Perfectionism is the mother of procrastination.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that's a beauty that I don't have. I realized long ago that I'm not perfect and nothing I do is perfect, but God damn it, I make up for it in effort. I'll swing that hammer 1,000 times. So yeah, that is something you just need to let go. There's no perfect business, no perfect process. You need to pick up and go, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just hearing what you just said, flush that excuse and triple the volume.
There you go. Triple the volume. I like it. That's kind of like an old, like an old Grant Cardone.
Yeah. Well, I've led lots of very successful sales teams. I've helped sales reps make 7-figure, and I would say damn near 50% of the salespeople I work with give me what I call that excuse. I'm a perfectionist. My demo script, my opening, my PowerPoint. No, motherfucker, you need to triple your output so you can improve with practice. So yeah, triple the output. Just triple it. End of story.
Fail as many times as you can and figure it out.
Yes.
Yep. Makes sense.
Yeah. Look at failure.
Good advice.
Look at failure as a positive as much as you can. A lot of people leave a bad meeting focused on, God, I wasted that. I did this. I did that. I mean, for me, it was really expensive, right? I'd have to fly to Tokyo, Japan, meet some sales team that I have never worked with, do a BS dinner the night before, then go to the meeting. The meeting was horrible. But what we should be talking about is how can I make the next 20 meetings that guy has or that gal has when I'm not in Tokyo? That's how it was. Is yes, they thought it was some big fancy meeting with Sony, or they thought it was some big meeting with some materials company in Australia, or some IT company or communication company in Sao Paulo, Brazil. It was never about that meeting. Most of those meetings sucked, but it was the next 2 hours that I could have with that person and their sales consultant and their team to make sure that the next 20 meetings they had were better. That's how I looked at every time I was on a goddamn 13-hour flight. Is okay, I'm going to go to this meeting. It's going to be a lot, because there's always promises. Oh, this is the meeting, the most important, the blah, blah, blah. No, almost never was. There were a couple outliers like, God, that was a home run. Congratulations. But most of them were terrible. Yeah. So just learn. Triple the volume.
I'm doing it. I'm on it.
Good. All right.
Yeah, that's very helpful. I guess the other question I would have is, I've started up a remote voicemail or ringless voicemail campaign.
Sure.
And I'm trying to narrow down where to focus. I mean, there's all different types of marketing campaigns you can do out there, and I like the ringless voicemail. For multiple reasons. I mean, the guys that are in Columbus have had a lot of success with it, and the return on investment and the cost is, lower comparatively to others. And then the other one is the driving for dollars, going out and actually driving, which does take a lot of time. But the idea behind that is it's very targeted marketing. You're finding by visually seeing these, homes that look run down, you can actually see, okay, this one probably, there might be a motivated seller there, and so those are the two that I'm focusing on. But what's your advice around marketing?
Well, so I'm actually not going to talk about marketing. I'm going to let you decide that, but we are going to have this conversation. Do you know the key to being a wholesaler? Like the number one key, if you don't do this, you can't win. You have to communicate with owners. The only way you're
With
successful is,
sellers. Yeah.
well,
So,
owners,
yeah.
owners. They
Yeah.
actually have to own the property in order to sell it to you, right? So
Yeah.
that's what you have to focus on. And in the beginning, you need to talk to lots of owners, right? And in the
Yep.
beginning, I would not limit myself to kind of quote unquote looking for motivated sellers like everybody wants to talk about. You need to build up your stick. You need to get calluses. You need to talk to owners that aren't even interested in selling. You just need to get the rhythm and the vibe and the, what is it like to talk to, and what is it like to talk to somebody who's owned a house for 20 years that I've never spoken to, right? You need to get better at that. So instead of in the beginning looking for the most targeted message to find a motivated seller, I would tell you to change it up, right? You need to try to talk to 100 owners a week. And that's probably going to be a different message, right? You should send a message out, ringless voicemail. Hey, my name is Teddy. I'm looking to buy a place in whatever location or whatever, right? I don't know, Cincinnati areas. And I'd be curious, what have you thought about the last 20 years of ownership? Right? Then that person might call you. They're not going to sell, but just because you were a nice guy and there's a nice voicemail, hey, I'll talk to a guy that's going to move into the neighborhood. You need to talk to more and more and more people. And then if you get the sense during those early conversations that they might want to sell, then you could say, oh, by the way, would you like to sell? Right? That's what a lot of people get wrong in the beginning, in my opinion, is they're trying to shortcut experience. And right now, you need to talk to a lot of owners. I mean, I get wholesalers calling me every day, texting me every day. I mean, the best one these days is texting. I don't know what it was. Texting is hot these days. Hi, I'm Mary. And it's always a woman. I don't know why you guys think women are better, but I guess somewhere it is. I am Mary, and I'm looking to buy a house. Do you want to sell blah, 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 blah house? I don't respond to those. But if you were to send me a response that says, hi, I'm looking to be a neighbor of yours. What have you thought about, you've owned this property for 10 years. I can see it. What have you thought of the area? I might return that.
Yep. That makes sense.
You know?
Well, and that makes a lot of sense too, because I don't know a lot of these areas that I'm sending out some of these marketing campaigns to, you know. I mean, I know of them, but I haven't lived in them, you know.
Exactly. You need to build
experience. I don't know what the neighborhood's like. Yeah.
Exactly. So in the beginning, just again, break down your pipeline. In the beginning for you, it's, I need to talk to as many owners as I can, right? You do that 500, 600, 700 times, you're going to be able to make every subsequent marketing experience better.
Love it. That actually gets to the heart of the question there. I mean, because that's something I'm doing today, is building out some of my call scripts, you know, and what is that first call, you know?
And then you go back to your perfection concept, and you don't even know what you're doing because you've never talked to anybody.
Yeah.
How can I have a perfect call script if I've never talked to anybody? Well, you know what? Dump the call script, go be a nice guy and talk to 100 people, and then maybe you can get a call script.
I like that. Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Any additional questions? I'll keep going as long as you have them.
I could probably keep going forever, but well, so the other side of it is, you know, with your business, when did you transition over into the consulting side of it and talking with others? Because I'm very interested in that too. I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, for me, you know, I was like a lot of people. I focused on my day job, and anything I did building my buy and hold portfolio was after hours or weekends, because I saw my job as, I need to bust my ass, make as much money as I can during the day so that I could save, right? Spend less and invest, and then just repeat. So I really didn't start helping people until after I retired. I just didn't have time. Right. I would occasionally, you know, a friend go out to lunch, but it was nothing on purpose. And it was only after earning financial independence and realizing that I'm relatively still young and I need to do something all day, or I'm just going to go crazy. that I started helping people. So I wrote a book, and then I did YouTube, and then so many people kept asking for help. I created an online course, but it was all demand driven. Um, I, I didn't, I didn't come to this going, oh, I'm going to create a course on how to start one rental at a time. It's never been my mindset. I'm never trying to be a guru. I just read Rich Dad Poor Dad nearly 20 years ago, changed my life. I did a
Yeah,
journey.
most
I wrote
everybody's.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then more and more people ask for help. So I keep helping where I can.
Nice. Yeah, and that's the reason I asked that is because I'm very interested in doing that too. And some people say, well, you can't start until you know what you're doing, but at the same time, I do think it's nice to be able to relay what I'm learning right now as it's fresh in my mind to others, because I think, and something that my mentors will struggle with sometimes is thinking back to when they were in their very beginning phases of building the business, like how do you set up this voice over internet protocol or, a VRM system? And some of those nitty gritty details are just not, they're just not what you're thinking of as a seasoned investor.
Yeah.
So
What I would tell you is there's definitely, let me just say this. I am certainly a better investor today for helping people the last 2 years, because you never know where your blind spots are, right?
Yeah.
I still get questions probably weekly that go, oh my God, I hadn't thought about that, or I'd forgotten, or I just didn't do it, or wow, that's a cool question. I never thought about it that way. You're never done in this business. If you're ever arrogant enough to think you're done, you're about to get smoked. So there's definitely value in mentoring or teaching others, because you just never know when your message is off, and you learn more by the questions you get back than the stuff you put out. So that's why we started this conversation with you asking me a bunch of questions. I have no idea where you were going to go. It's because I'm always learning. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I hear that. Well, because I've in starting this business, everybody's asking me, what are you doing? Like, you're doing a real estate entrepreneur. Okay, well, where are you?
Yeah, that's a mouthful. What does that mean? Yeah.
Yeah. And so then I got to explain it to them. And as I explain it to them, they have more and more questions. And I'm learning as I'm explaining it to them. Like it's ingraining in my head. I'm like, and then I have questions that come up that they ask me a good question where I say to myself, I don't actually don't know that answer. That's a good question,
Yeah. So there's definitely value in giving back like that. So I think, again, absolutely. I think it's a good idea.
Great. That helps. It's just, you don't want to lose focus. Like you said, it's get the volume going and talk with owners. I got to dedicate a majority of my time to that every single day right now. So
yeah, exactly. Between now and the end of the year, I don't know, let's just pick a wild ass goal. So what is it? September 16th. So that means you got October, November, December. It means you got about 100 days left, thereabouts. You should set a crazy ass target of trying to talk to 500 owners. Wild ass target.
500 owners.
Yeah. And I guarantee you, if you do that between now and the end of the year, your call script will be rock solid in January, February.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Just taking notes here.
Yeah. Very cool.
So are you looking into investments in Cincinnati, or do you?
I am not.
Could I help you in this market at all?
You're not going to help me because I'm boring and lazy. I know my market. I'm not going anywhere else. But this channel is growing, and there are lots of people looking for markets like Cincinnati. So, tell us a little bit about Cincinnati, right? It's your hometown. And then let's make sure you give your contact details so other investors could call you and ask questions. So tell us about Cincinnati.
Yeah, so I've lived in Cincinnati pretty much all my life. I was born in Columbus,
right,
about an hour and a half north. But I moved here when I was 6. Cincinnati is, the cost of living here is relatively cheap to the amount of the pay is fairly significant to that ratio. So There's a lot of great opportunities for people starting a family or starting out with a career here.
What's an average house in Cincinnati? I have no idea.
Average house, I would say 250, 300 range.
All right. So let's call a median price 250. Any idea on what rent would be for a house like that? Are we talking $1,000, 1,200, 800? Any idea?
Yeah. So I would say there's a couple that my dad owns right now that he is getting a little over $1,000 a month for.
Okay.
And those are in that price range. But I would say, he's getting on the higher end.
Okay. All right. And then I'm guessing there are areas in Cincinnati, like all other areas, where they're older homes, 1950s build, 3-1s, the old configuration. Those houses are sub 100K today because they're just older, or where do those fall out?
And these are good questions for me too, to know that I need to actually up my game on valuation here. I haven't even done my first wholesale deal yet.
Yeah,
so
I understand.
But I'm just prefacing that as, I don't think I can answer that question completely confidently. But I would say, they like my house, for example, it was built in the 1950s.
Okay.
We got it for $170,000. It's valued at around the Zestimate is 250 range, and I would comfortably second sell it for 230.
Sure, makes sense. Okay.
And I think I could rent this for $800 to $1,000.
Yeah.
A month, $800 to $1,000 a month.
Very cool. All right. Yeah. So some of the things that you're going to get, because people will call you, is you're going to need to learn about this is why you got to talk to owners, right? You got to talk to 500 owners, like we talked about earlier. How could people watching this going, hey, I've always thought about Cincy. Maybe they're in New York, maybe they're in Texas, maybe they're in California, and they're looking at the Midwest. Teddy, how could they get a hold of you? How do you want to do that? Phone call, email? What do you want to do?
Either way, I'll give you both my cell phone and my email. My cell phone number is 513-818-7038.
Perfect.
And my email is T as in Ted, Woodhouse, just like it sounds, WOODHOUSE, 1985 @gmail.com.
Very cool, Teddy. Again, a growing businessman, starting wholesaling, got big plans for going to turnkey and then buy and hold, just like your buddies in Columbus. You're going to do some heavy lifting and some work. So if you have interest in Cincinnati, you want to help him out, ask him some questions so he can practice his script. Make sure you reach out to him again. Teddy, one more time on your cell phone.
Yeah, it's 513-818-7038.
Very cool, Teddy. Good luck. If you have any more questions, you know how to get a hold of me, all right?
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it.
Have a wonderful day.